Alright, so we continue with the section 3, that's diversity of living things. We've looked at the organisms, green weevil, honeybee, butterfly, and how do you call it, a housefly. We are now on the ecological aspect of things, that's interactions in nature. I want to look at characteristic features of tropical rainforest and adaptations of organisms in tropical rainforest. So what is a tropical rainforest? So usually warm and have high rainfall of more than 2,000 millimeters annually. So we use the rain gauge to measure this rainfall annually, and we get this amount, which is very high for most regions in the tropical areas. It's usually areas that receive the highest rainfall most often. It has unique dense vegetation with different plant layers and unique characteristics. This includes the emergent layer, characterized primary layers of rainforest that form a dense roof of leaves and branches. The understorey layer located below the canopies, receiving limited sunlight, and finally the bottom layer of the rainforest called the forest floor. So you can see the diagram of the different layers of vegetation in the tropical rainforest: the emergent layer, the canopy, the understory, and then the forest floor. So we are going to have the forest floor, those plants that do not really need much light to grow, to do photosynthesis and so on. If not, they may not survive, because as you know, you can see how dense. I mean, we've seen forest areas before. You know how dense it can be. Light be difficult to penetrate, very low, and a very low depth, or lower part of the forest. So it's difficult to get plants usually at the forest floor. Plants that are there are either epiphyte that will grow up, or they are they love shade. In other words, they don't need much light to grow. Tropical rainforest is home to a huge variety of plants and animals, because the weather is consistently warm and rainy, and there is plenty of food and resources available. Sure, this creates a stable and comfortable environment that allows many different species to thrive and coexist. Alright, so you can see a picture of the tropical rainforest with a lot of trees, very high up. They go, very dense, very compact, and such area, like I said, light will be limited at the floor. This habitat is home to tiny microorganisms like bacteria and fungi that help break down dead plants and animals in the soil. Some bacteria help plants to grow by fixing nitrogen and growing the roots of plants. Nitrogen fixation in biological is when nitrogen in the atmosphere is converted to ammonia, another form of nitrogen, by certain bacterial species like Rhizobium, Azotobacter, etc. Protista like amoeba and flagellate can also be found in the forest floor. This will be areas where there will be pools or puddles of water. You'll find them in. Rainforest is home to tall trees like ceiba or kapok, African mahogany, wawa, odum, and rubber. Other plants include epiphytes such as orchids, ferns, and bromeliads that grow on other plants, and vines that climb up trees. The rainforest is also home to a vast array of animals like monkeys, forest elephants, and birds like parrots, sparrows, and eagles. Reptiles such as snakes and lizards are also present along with amphibians like frogs and salamanders. Insects like butterflies and ants and arachnids such as spiders and scorpions are also um, prevalent. So you can watch this video on YouTube on the National Geographic documentary. The link is on your learner manual. What are some of the characteristics of tropical rainforest? Has heavy rain over 2,000 millimeters every year. Temperatures that stay between 20 and 30 degrees Celsius. The air is always humid. Rainforest is home to a huge variety of plants and animals. The plants grow in layers with different levels of trees, shrubs, and vines. Alright, then we also look at the adaptations of plants in the tropical rainforest. Plants such as African mahogany have huge leaves with pointed tips that allow water to slide off, preventing fungi from growing on them. Epiphytes such as orchids and bromeliads grow on other plants to reach the sunlight filtering through the dense canopy. Vines and lianas such as pothos, that is candle vine, climb up trees to reach the sunlight in the upper canopy. Trees such as kapok develop big, flat roots, as buttress roots, that support them and makes them to stand tall in thin soil and absorb nutrients as well. You can see the buttress root shown here. It's a large mahogany tree with supporting buttress roots. You have some of the mahogany trees in the school. So you see them having this kind of wing-like flat roots. It's a modification, root modification that supports the plant as it grows bigger, wider, and that goes what we refer to as secondary growth. Adaptation of animals in the tropical rainforest. Animals like chameleons have colors and patterns as camouflage that makes them to blend with the environment and hide from predators. Bush babies and other animals live in trees to avoid predators that roam the forest floor. Monkeys and pangolins have prehensile tails that act like an extra hand, making them grip tree branches and move through the forest canopy. The same pangolins and other animals are nocturnal, meaning they are active at night to avoid predators that hunt during the day. Right, so being in the forest offers massive protection for them. They are able to hide, of course, already nocturnal, it's dark, so the trees to provide that extra shade and darkness for them to hide for predators. Even though the predators too are also adapted to see them even in the dark. We can talk about the owls and the other predators that have very good vision in the night. Alright, so this an activity that you can look at. So you can read about that. It's in your learner's manual. So if you are not able to